The House will come to order. Today's Pledge of Allegiance is by Danielle Giffon from University of Denver.
If you would please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The House will come to order. Please read the roll.
Representatives Arndt, Becker J, Becker K, Beckman, Benavides, Bridges, Buck. Buckner. Carver. Catlin. Coleman. Covarrubias. Danielson. Escar. Everett. Exum. Foote. Representative Foote.
Excused.
Garnett. Janal. Oh, thank you. Gray. Hamner. Hanson. Morning. Harrod. Hooten. Humphrey. Jackson. Kennedy. Kraft Tharp. Landgraf. Oh. Lawrence. Lebsock. Lee. Leonard. Lewis. Liston. Lontine. Lundeen. McKean. McLaughlin. Melton. Representative Melton. Michelson Janae. Mitch Bush. Navarro. Representative Navarro.
Excuse.
Neville.
Representative Benavides is here.
Nordberg. Pabon. Pedersen. Rankin. Morning. Ransom. Rosenthal. Representative Rosenthal. There he is. Sane. Salazar. Sias. Singer.
Excused.
Thurlow. Valdez. Van Winkle. Weissman. Willett. Williams. Wilson. Winter. Wist. Young. Madam Speaker.
Here.
Good morning. So I've got, did Navarro come in? Okay, so we'll mark Navarro. Foote and Singer.
Representative Foote is present. With 64 present and 1 excused, we have a quorum. Representative Harrod, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the reading of the journal for Monday, February 27th, 2017 be dispensed with and approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
Members, you have heard the motion. All of those in favor signify by saying aye. Those
Aye.
opposed signify by saying no. The motion passes. Announcements and introductions. Any announcements and introductions? Going once, Representative Janal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the Health, Insurance, and Environment Committee, there will be no committee meeting this morning after floor work. So just wanted to let you know you have a free morning after we get done here. So again, HIE, no committee meeting this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Jadal. Representative Michelson-Janae.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker. I am asking permission to be excused after having spoken with the Majority Leader and the Minority Leader for Friday, March 3rd.
Okay, you are excused.
Thank you.
Further announcements or introductions? Representative Jadal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, we have some guests in the left-hand area of the chamber today, and I want to introduce these wonderful people. They're with the March of Dimes. President Franklin Roosevelt's personal struggle with polio led him to create the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis at a time when polio was on the rise. Better known as the March of Dimes, the foundation established...
Rep. Jadal, let me help you out. Please proceed, Representative Jadal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The March of Dimes is a foundation established by Franklin Roosevelt and funded research for vaccines developed by Jonas Salk and by Albert Sabin. And these vaccines effectively eradicated the epidemic of polio in the United States. Its original mission with the March of Dimes accomplished, the foundation turned into its focus on preventing birth defects, infantile mortality rates, and fighting premature birth. One of the reasons why I'm so honored to introduce these wonderful people in regards to the March of Dimes, and I hope you all will go and meet them, is my mom. In the 50s, 60s, and 70s, went around in the neighborhood, as maybe some of you can remember, maybe not all of you, collecting dimes from each house. And that was the March of Dimes and how volunteers went out and raised money. And today, our Colorado March of Dimes volunteers are here. And let's hear it for our lovely March of Dimes volunteers here at the Capitol. Thank you for all the work you continue to do, and appreciate everything that you have done and will do in the future. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for joining us at the Capitol. Representative Jadal, that will be $1. Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. I have two announcements. The first one is that Western Colorado Congress is here today, but I believe right now they're in that other chamber. Western Colorado Congress will be here, I hope, in the House chamber. They are a consortium of community groups across the Western Slope with their headquarters in Grand Junction. They work on a wide variety of community issues and essentially advocate for their Western Slope communities. So when they do come, please give them a big welcome.
Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On your desks today is a handout that looks like so. Tomorrow is, among many other things, besides being March 1st, as Safe Streets Day at the Capitol. This is organized by Bicycle Colorado and other associated groups. And as you can see, they'll be doing a breakfast drop-in between 8 and 10 in the old Supreme Court chambers. So please stop by and listen to what they have to say. Take care.
All right, further announcements and introductions. Minority Leader Neville.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
And Assistant Majority Leader Gurnett.
All right, so to give you guys an update on the Mark Ferrandino license plate tournament, yesterday's challenge was won by the U.S. Air Force Academy, took out Fort Lewis College by 18-7. And the U.S. Coast Guard edged out Raptor Education Foundation by 16-9. So they'll move on to the next round, and I'll let the Assistant Majority Leader introduce today's matchups.
Assistant Majority Leader Gurnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Most importantly, members, the number of people who have voted has gone up exponentially, so thank you the people of Colorado are watching, and they appreciate the fact that you're getting involved and your voice is being heard. Today we have two matchups, one versus U.S. Navy versus Support the Horse. It's true. We actually have a license plate that says Support the Horse.
And I think that includes miniature horses.
I know who I'm supporting. And then the second matchup is U.S. Marine Corps versus Western State Colorado University. All right, make sure you get those ballots in. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Any further announcements or introductions? Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, this announcement is for you as well as everyone else in the House of Representatives. Tonight is the inaugural meeting of the Tech Caucus. And I think, Madam Speaker, you would be particularly interested in this because one of the three pillars that we're focusing on with the Tech Caucus is technology and education. So we're focusing on that. We're focusing on modernization of our statutes, and we're also focusing on emerging technologies. And I know Representative Bridges is very interested in this issue. This is a joint event with the Joint Technology Committee and many others. So it's at the Commons on Champa. Flyers should be on your desks. It's from 5 to 7. It's going to be a great inaugural caucus, and we're going to have a great year. Hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Representative Pabon. Any further announcements or introductions? Seeing no further announcements or introductions, the next order of business is third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1125.
House Bill 1125 by Representatives Nordberg and Winter, House Senators John and Smallwood, concerning eliminating the duty of the Division of Correctional Industries to provide certain services for the state's correctional facilities.
Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you. Members, we're voting on third reading. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1125 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is a passage of House Bill 1125 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Randall, please open the machine. Representative Lee. Please close the machine. With 65 yes votes, 0 no votes, HB 1125 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 34.
Senate Bill 34 by Senators Jones and Lundberg, also Representatives Foote and McKean, concerning extension of the period following the declaration by the governor of a disaster emergency in a county within which the Board of County Commissioners of the county may transfer county general fund money to the county road and bridge fund for the purpose of disaster response and recovery.
Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 34 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is a passage of Senate Bill 34 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Randall, please open the machine. Please close the machine. With 65 yes votes, 0 no votes, Senate Bill 34 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1149.
House Bill 1149 by Representatives Exum and Michelson Janelle, Senator Gardner, concerning special license plate issued to members of the United States military who served in the United States Army Special Forces.
Assistant Majority Leader Gardner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1149 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of House Bill 1149 on third reading and final passage. Any discussion? Minority Leader Neville.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I want to thank my colleagues on the other side of the aisle for pointing this out to me, but this is a license plate bill I actually urge a yes vote on. Right. So what this bill actually does is limit those who can get the Special Forces license plate to those who have actually earned the tab and earned the Green Beret. I think that's good policy.
Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Randall, please open the machine. Representative Benavides, Representative Landgraf, Representative, just those two. Please close the machine. With 63 yes votes, 2 no votes, House Bill 1149 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1173.
House Bill 1173 by Representative Hansen, Senator Neville, concerning required provisions in a contract between a healthcare insurance carrier and a healthcare provider concerning medical communications regarding disagreements in healthcare decisions.
Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1173 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is a passage of House Bill 1173. Seeing no discussion, Mr. Randall, please open the machine. Please close the machine. With 39 yes votes and 26 no votes, House Bill 1173 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Our next order of business is General Order's second reading of bills. Representative Janal. All right, seeing no objection, Representative Janal will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader. The coat rule is relaxed. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1180.
House Bill 1180 by Representatives Winter and Lawrence, House Senators Neville and Kerr, concerning requirements for the tuition assistance program for students enrolled in career and technical education certificate programs.
Representative Winter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are excited to bring to you 1180 today. A couple years ago, we passed the Workforce Development Package. As part of that, we provided scholarship money for important CTE programs, career and technical education. This bill allows those funds to be used more efficiently.
Representative Lawrence.
About it. Members, for those of you who aren't aware what sort of CTE programs this might encompass, and what we're talking about are programs that don't carry the minimum number of hours to qualify for a Pell Grant. And those programs might be nursing assistant, emergency medical technician, phlebotomist, automotive repair, construction equipment operator, jobs like that that offer great opportunities for growth and good incomes going forward. And on that note, I would move House Bill 1180 and ask that it be approved.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1180? Seeing none, House Bill 1180. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1180 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1012.
House Bill 1012 by Representative Escar, concerning the creation of a Pueblo Chili license plate.
Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Robert, if you could please display the license plate. Thank you. Appreciate that.
The license plate, the Pueblo Chili license plate, is properly displayed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to make sure everybody could take a great look at the initial design that we're talking about. I would like to move House Bill 1012 and the Appropriations Committee report.
Thank you, Representative Escar. To the Transportation Committee report, please. Or Appropriations Committee report, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the Appropriations Committee, we amended the bill to change the date that the license plates can be available from January 2018 to September of 2018. And the reason we did this was to be fiscally responsible and take out the $4,200 fiscal note that would have been needed if we wanted to move it to January of 2018. So with that, I ask your support for the House Committee report, or the Appropriations Committee report.
Thank you, Representative Escar. Is there any further discussion on the appropriations report? Seeing none, all those in favor say yes.
Aye.
Opposed? No. The appropriations report passes. To the transportation report.
There was no.
There was no transportation report. All right. Then to the bill, Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I know that a lot of people have feelings about license plate bills, and I just want to say, somebody told me yesterday, I'm not going to vote on your silly little bill. I'm sorry, but I want to make you understand that this is more than a silly little bill. This is actually a bill that was brought to me by the Pueblo Chili Growers Association as an entire campaign to get the word out about a tremendous agricultural crop that we have in southern Colorado. And the idea that people in Colorado start to recognize and understand that the Pueblo chili is Colorado's chili. So much so that this has garnered some attention to our neighbors to the south of us in New Mexico. They are rushing right now to get a bill put through to make sure that they are the first state to have a New Mexico chili license plate. They want to beat us to the punch for the chili plate. I've gotten a lot of social media response against me for running this plate because Colorado shouldn't be proud of their chilies because New Mexico is the chili capital of the United States. That is my point. So with that, on the New Mexico bill that I have here with me, the effective date of New Mexico's chili bill, if it passes, were to be July 1st, 2017. We cannot let New Mexico beat us. We have decided that we are going to put the safety clause on it because as soon as this bill passes out, I'm going to ask the governor's office to sign it immediately so our effective date beats New Mexico's effective date, thus making Colorado the winner in the race for green chilies. I ask your support for L003.
Representative Liston, is this on L003?
Oh, no, it's on the bill.
Okay. Any comments on L003? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no? No. The ayes have it. L003 is adopted. Division. Too late. Already gavelled. Representative Liston to the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Well, members, I don't know about you, but this bill to me is just too hot to handle. And it's really bringing tears to my eyes. So vote your conscience, but it really is a hot bill.
Representative Salazar.
I'm not going to do any quips after that one. That was just too much. You know, it really is just a bunch of silliness how we decide which license plate bills are going to be supported and which ones aren't going to be supported. The fact is that every single license plate bill goes towards a community someplace, goes towards an organization someplace. We just voted on a very good one for Special Forces. That goes someplace. It goes to a constituency someplace. And so will this Pueblo Chili license plate bill. It benefits somebody somewhere along the way, and it's important that we do that. So I'm all in favor of this bill, and I thank Representative Escar for bringing it. Thank you.
Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise, and this is to say that this is a good bill. A Pueblo Chili license plate will help recognize a product that is important to our community, our heritage, and Pueblo and Southern Colorado. I encourage your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Valdez. Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1012? Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, again, I want to stress that this isn't just a silly little bill or a silly little license plate. This is an actual piece of moving economic development that's happening in Southern Colorado. And I really want to emphasize that Pueblo's chili is Colorado's chili. I would really appreciate your support on this bill, not just for Southern Colorado, but for all of Colorado, and so we can beat New Mexico. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1012? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no? House Bill 1012 is passed. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1127. 1027, excuse me.
House Bill 1027 by Representatives Becker, J. and Buckner, also Senators Gardner and Garcia, concerning the Emily Marine Ellen Keyes Organ and Tissue Donation Awareness Fund and in connection therewith removing the repeal date of the fund, requiring an audit every 10 years, and clarifying that an organ and tissue donor designation is effective unless revoked by the donor.
Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1027 and the House Finance and Appropriations Committee reports.
Thank you, Representative Becker. To the Appropriations Report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Appropriations Committee report just added in the cash funded appropriations and asked for an aye vote.
Any other discussion on the committee report from Appropriations? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The Appropriations Committee report's passed. Any other report?
The Finance Committee report, Madam Chair.
To the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Finance Committee report just designated that it would be cash funds from the program fees, and then talked about the forms of ID that would be needed to do this program. Asked for an aye vote on that as well.
Is there further discussion? Representative Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wanted to thank the sponsors for bringing forward House Bill 1027. And in the Finance Committee, they did something that was really important. They took into consideration some thoughts that my constituent had about adding someone who works for an organization that focuses on living donations onto the advisory body. And so I just wanted to thank the sponsors for doing that, because they recognize that there are organizations that focus on living transplant donations, and it's a really important aspect that otherwise would have been left out. So I wanted to thank both the sponsors for doing that.
Is there any further discussion on the Finance Committee report? The question before us then is the adoption of the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The Finance Committee report is adopted. Representative Buckner to the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill is very, very important, and this bill means a lot to me and so many other people on this floor. The Organ and Tissue Donation Awareness Fund is so important, and it's a successful tool to encourage Colorado citizens to give the life-saving gift of organ and tissue donation. In 2016, Colorado had the second highest performing state donor registry in the nation, with 69% of licensed drivers and ID card holders saying yes to be an organ and tissue donor. More than 2,500 Coloradans are on waiting lists for organ transplants, and thousands more in need of bone, skin, and corneal transplants. I'm proud to say that my husband was able to be a corneal transplant donor when he passed away 2 years ago, and 2 people were given the precious gift of sight because of his generosity. I am asking for an aye vote on this bill.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1027? Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Madam Chair, this is an issue that affects every single one of us, whether we know it or not. It can affect our family members, it can affect those who we know and love, and it can affect, organ donations can affect our colleagues even. And let me tell you about one of our colleagues, if we could, just for a moment, who has been saved by organ donations. This young man was diagnosed with a deadly heart disease as an infant. He received his first life-saving heart transplant when he was only 6 months old on Mother's Day. When this young man was 11, his body began to reject his transplanted heart, and he was placed back on the transplant waiting list. After a year, he was the recipient of another gift. Now that young man is a man we all know well, but you may not have known this story. That young man is our reader, Mr. Connor Randall. Now, as we all know, Mr. Randall is now a thriving, successful young man. He's a talented musician and is pursuing a career in politics. He also, listen to this, generously volunteers his time with the Donor Alliance. That's the organization that facilitated his transplant. So he's giving back to the organization that gave to him in a tremendous way. One of Mr. Randall's favorite things to say is, don't take your organs to heaven. Heaven knows we need them here. It's a terrific reminder. So we're so happy, Mr. Randall, that you're here with us today, serving us so well in the House. Let's give, for the last time, Mr. Randall a round of applause.
I'm glad you're here with us, Mr. Randall. And is there any further discussion? Then the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1027. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? No? The ayes have it. House Bill 1027 is passed. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1103.
House Bill 1103 by Representatives Nordberg and Pabon, all Senators Gardner and Moreno, concerning estate sales and use tax exemption for historic aircraft on loan for public display.
Representative Nordberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1103, and there is no committee report.
Please explain the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill establishes a very narrow sales and use tax exemption for historic aircraft that are loaned for the educational purposes to either a nonprofit or publicly owned museum. Very narrowly crafted, certainly not for personal use or enjoyment, and would ask for a yes vote.
Is there Representative Pabon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to co-prime sponsor this bill with my friend and colleague, Representative Nordberg. You know, sometimes it takes two times to go forward on a bill, and I want to thank Representative Nordberg for the opportunity to do this. You know, this last December 7th, in fact, I was at the 75th anniversary of the Pearl Harbor bombing. And it was a tremendous event that recognized the brave men and women who were there on that island on that hallowed day. And what was striking about it in particular was how few survivors are still left from that horrific event. And our history is leaving us, in other words. It's leaving us every day, and we, at the same time, can never forget that history. And so, for me, this is one of those ways that we can preserve our history in a way that we can see and touch for our next generations of Coloradans and Americans, so that they're able to see firsthand either the original or a replica of those bombers, those fighters, what many of our greatest generation had to use in order to defend our freedom. And so I rise in strong support, not just because I'm a co-prime sponsor, but because I think this is a good bill and a good incentive to preserve our history for future generations, and ask for an aye vote.
Representative Liston.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Members, I rise in strong support of this bill. I have a very close and personal tie to the aircraft industry, and particularly out of World War II. My father was a World War II bomber pilot. He proudly served in the Army Air Corps. In fact, he got his wings 4 days before Pearl Harbor and was immediately assigned to patrol the California coast. My uncle was a Marine aviator in World War II. My father flew B-24s, and my uncle flew F-6F Hellcats and Corsairs. And I've got to tell you, in Colorado Springs, there is a organization called Westpac Aviation, if I'm not mistaken, that restores vintage aircraft, particularly World War II aircraft. And if you've never been in one of these planes, whether they've been restored or not, these are truly works of art. They are a part of our history. They are truly a part of the world's greatest generation. I can't tell you, this past summer, I had the opportunity to go out. There's an organization called the Collins Foundation that actively restores and owns and operates these World War II aircraft, and they fly them around the country. They're the only organization that flies them around and generally lets the public see them. I had the distinct honor and privilege of not only seeing the aircraft, B-24, a B-17, a B-25, and a P-51 Mustang, but I paid a little bit extra and flew in the B-24. And I can just tell you that it gave me a real deep appreciation for what our fathers and grandfathers and uncles did to save our country and preserve this great republic and the freedom of our world. So I strongly urge an aye vote. This is a great bill. If you ever have the opportunity to go and see any of these aircraft, I strongly urge you to do so, and I'm glad to lend my support to this. This is a great bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Liston. Representative Nordberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Representative Liston, Representative Pabon. I do have one quick amendment. I move L002.
The amendment is properly displayed before us. Please proceed.
Yeah, members, this just removes the safety clause and adds the act subject to petition, so it asks for a yes vote.
Is there any discussion on Amendment L002? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Amendment L002. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Amendment 002 is adopted. To the bill, any final comments on 1103? Any more discussion? The question before us, Representative Valdez, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise also in support of this bill because in my district, you can see the Westport Aircraft Museum. Inside, it holds some of our most precious history of aircrafts, and I welcome you to come down and visit. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1103. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1103 is passed. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1120.
House Bill 1120 by Representatives Willett, all Senator Quorum, concerning the designation of a campus liquor complex on the campus of an institution of higher education that is licensed to serve alcohol beverage for consumption on the licensed premise to allow the institution to obtain permits to serve alcohol beverages at other facilities within its campus liquor complex.
Representative Willett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1120 and the House Committee reports from Public Health and Appropriations.
To the Appropriations Report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The appropriation simply funded to the Department of Revenue the amount needed for some additional software and processing.
Is there any further discussion on the Appropriations Report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Appropriations Report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The Appropriations Report is adopted. To the Public Health and Human Services Report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The amendment in public health was simply to allow a vendor or a contracted party to do the same thing that the bill does, and that's pretty commonplace in these institutions of higher ed.
Is there any discussion about the Public Health and Human Services Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Public Health and Human Services Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no.
Thank you.
The Health and Human Services report is adopted. To the bill, Representative Willett.
Thanks again, Madam Chair. This is a really good bill, folks, for higher ed. It basically reduces government, reduces costs to higher ed, and provides flexibility. What a concept. The bill's strongly supported by Colorado State University, University of Colorado, Colorado Mesa University. In a nutshell, these universities, when they have events and they serve maybe wine or beer or whatever at special events, they had to apply for all these special use permits and liquor licenses. So as an example, they were up at CMU in Grand Junction to like pushing $10,000 in 1 year just to apply for all these 5, 6, 7 different permits and liquor licensures. So the concept is just like resorts can do, or similar to what resorts can do, where you can have one liquor license and a very good trained staff. You can move around where you serve on your premises, only within the campus arena. So that was the model that this was based after. We had no opposition and a lot of support. So good bill, vote yes. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1120? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1120. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1120 passes. Mr. Randall, can you please read the title to House Bill 1130?
House Bill 1130 by Representative Arnold, Senator Kagan, concerning allowing reimbursement for expenses for members of the Restorative Justice Coordinating Council.
Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill just brings into line the Restorative Justice Council as a permissive bill to allow them to reimburse members if they so choose within their existing means. There's no appropriation. Oh, first I have to move the bill. I move House Bill 1130. Okay.
Thank you. So moved.
Okay. So I'm sorry, back to the synopsis of the bill. It's permissive. It allows the Restorative Justice Council, if they so choose within existing funding, to reimburse members for expenses. It brings them into line with, listen to this, 20 other councils, including, for example, the Boxing Council, the Neuropathic Medicine Advisory Committee, the Colorado Children's Trust Fund, Colorado Commission on Higher Ed, so on and so forth. I could read it on, but there are 20 others. This is not unusual. It's just to allow them to reimburse their members if they so choose. And I urge an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1130? Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Representative Arndt, for bringing this bill. I have a question for you. This has been in effect, as I read the bill, for 10 years, and they've gotten along without it. What was the problem that created the situation that we suddenly had to reimburse them?
Oh, thank you. Actually, you'll like. Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry. You'll like this. They're having a hard time recruiting people for the Restorative Justice Council from the West Slope because it's a long drive and they weren't getting hotel or travel expenses, and they wanted to make sure that the access to the council was statewide.
Seeing no further discussion on House Bill 1130, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1130. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1130 passes. Mr. Randall, can you please read the title of Senate Bill 26?
Senate Bill 26 by Senator Sonnenberg, also Representative Arndt, concerning requirements governing implementation of the state engineer's functions and in connection therewith restructuring the fee that the state engineer may charge for rating certain types of water infrastructure, repealing certain requirements, and updating language in the statutes regarding the division of water resources.
Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee report from the Agriculture Committee.
Thank you, and please proceed with explaining the committee report.
Thank you very much. In the Agriculture, Livestock, and Natural Resources Committee report, it's important that you understand what happened when the amendment, about the amendment. The amendment reinstates a provision of the bill that is attempting to update the state engineer's office statute. The amendment would reinstate portions of the bill that were created in 1889 and one in 1943. I think when we try to update a statute, it's important to go ahead and bring it into modern times and make sure it trues up with other areas of law in the state. This bill came out of the Water Resource Review Committee unanimously, came out of the Senate unanimously, and I urge a no vote on the committee report.
Representative Singh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm pleased to be here with my esteemed colleague, Representative Art. But I would urge a yes vote on the committee report. I don't think an oath of office is ever out of style or ever out of fashion. The state engineer controls more money than the state treasurer if water is money, and of course it is. So I would urge a yes vote on the committee report. Thank you.
Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would urge a no vote on the committee report, and here's why. That old section of statute from 1885 was during a time when ditch riders were not employees of the state. They were independent contractors. As such, then, they were reasonably then required to take an oath because they were not employees of the state, and also to self-bond, to have their own individual bond. These days, that is, of course, really not applicable. And in fact, by putting it back in, as the amendment in the committee did, we are making it more difficult for our public employees to do their job, in this case, division engineers. I would urge a no vote. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Lebsack.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to explain what happened in committee because I think it's important. So, first of all, members, we have statutes that are on the books that have been here a very long time, right? Some of them need to be amended, some of them do not. The spirit of this bill is a good one. I actually voted yes on the bill itself. And so some of the things of what this bill does is clears up old state statutes, and I appreciate that, and I was a yes vote. One of the concerns that I have, and one of the reasons why I voted with Representative Sane on this amendment in committee was because, frankly, it's not okay for state government to violate state statute. And we've identified in this well a number of times when the state government is blatantly violating state statutes. And that was a vote for me to tell the state government and this administration that it's not okay. It's not okay. However, after talking to a number of folks about the specifics on this amendment, the bond is actually covering the individual, right? And so I can understand a bond that would cover, and essentially a bond, what that is insurance. So if the state engineer makes the wrong decision, then conceivably that bond could cover that wrong decision, and the person that was negatively affected by that decision by the state engineer could be covered by the insurance money. But I don't think that's what this bond does. And so maybe we need to have a longer discussion about what the bond does. I believe that the bond is an individual bond. It's an surety bond on the individual, and so that's a little bit different than a bond that would cover any mistake that the state engineer would make. And then I get this, I get what the representative was saying in committee. If the state engineer makes a mistake and makes the wrong decision, and that decision adversely affects a water provider, then we would have the insurance to cover that mistake, although I don't know that this bond does that. This bond is more of an individual surety bond on the individual, so we need to have a bigger discussion.
Representative McKean.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do think we need a bigger discussion because, as I made clear, my point on this, voting for this amendment in committee, was that one of the things we hear constantly is that government is immune from prosecution for errors in their normal course of business. And the bond, to me, was that bridge across that gap. Because when our state engineer makes decisions, and I believe I brought up the one of requiring daily augmentation in northern Colorado or along the Front Range, that had an adverse effect to most of my ditch companies because there were people who simply left the business because it was a very tall hill to climb to do daily augmentation. So therefore it had an adverse financial impact. I would like to know if this bond is a surety of actions in the normal course of business if they have an adverse impact, and also if it opens that door just slightly to say that government can be liable for those kind of damages. Those are my concerns, much more, I think, probably specific than the overall, and I appreciate your going and getting a legal opinion about the oath being sworn, but I also think that piece is important to me, and I don't know that we have an answer for it yet.
Representative Singh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If you want to distill water law down into one sentence that everybody can understand, it's first, do no harm. It's a lot like the medical profession. Keeping this committee report the way it is does no harm. And that's really important. I am a no on this bill without this committee report. People are hurting right now because law isn't being followed by the state engineer. Now, I would entertain any kind of bill to make sure that that's an elected position versus a governor appointee at this point because of things that have been going on for so long. But in the meantime, I think keeping this committee report the way it is would earn a yes vote on this bill. Without it, I'm a no vote. Thank you.
Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm also thankful for this discussion and this amendment in the fact that it did, and then when I promised in committee a legal memo, it was fascinating, and I sent you the legal memo this weekend, and I hope you all read it. But we also discovered there's a whole nother area of in the statute that requires almost every individual in the state to take a bond. And our legal team called the Attorney General's office and said, how many people are doing it? And they said, none, 0. So we do need a bigger discussion, but this bill is an attempt to clean that up from 1889. And if we don't start cleaning up our statutes and truing them up with modern times now, I don't really know when we're going to do it. I think it does do harm because we have some elected officials in the state who take an oath, we take an oath, and some of them still take a bond. The elected officials, but that's different from being a state, we become employees of the state, but it's different than being hired. We got elected. So there's room for an oath, I agree. I do also believe that the state is on the hook for the decisions that the state makes. So I don't think it's a personal bond. And that's what we're talking about today, taking an 1889 statute, truing it up to what's happening now and what's realistic and good for the state. And I urge a no vote on the committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the Ag Committee report? Representative Lebsack.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I wasn't specific. I am going to vote no on the committee report, and I'll tell you the reason why. We need to hold our government accountable, but having a individual surety bond on 1 or 2 individuals, and we don't require that with other state employees, is probably unrealistic. And so I'm going to be a no on the committee report. However, I'm here to say that it's probably more reasonable for the department to come to the committee and say, look, we've got 2 state statutes a long time ago that conflict with one another. Let's make sure we shore this up. And so for the state government, and I'm not necessarily talking about DNR. When I say that, I'm talking about other departments. There are other departments that have blatantly violated state statute, and that's wrong. And so when we identify that the state is not abiding by state statute, we need to amend that. And I think that's what this bill does. And I'll be a no on the committee report and a yes on the bill.
Representative Mitch Bush.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to clarify where this bill came from and how it came into being. I think you're all familiar with the Water Resources Review Committee, which is our bipartisan, bicameral committee which looks at water issues. The state engineer's office has long been concerned about the plethora of old statutes about water issues. This bill, in its original form, came before the Water Resources Review Committee twice. It came before our committee, and I and Rep. Arndt have served on that committee and still do. It came before our committee in 2015. It came before our committee in 2016. In 2016, because all the work had been done, and as you might imagine, it was an awful lot of work going through every page of statute that was at all relevant to this issue, it passed out of Water Resources Review Committee. So this has been looked at in some depth. The department and the division engineer were very well aware of the issues and problems. They didn't have enough staff until 2015 to start looking at this. That's where it came from. It's been duly vetted. And again, I urge a no vote on the committee report.
Representative McKean.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just back to this point, and Representative Lebsack, to your point, if we look at our memo, and it's on page 7, it says, about bonding, it says this provision appears to require a significant number of appointed state employees to secure a personal bond and proof of the bond with the Secretary of State. However, in consultation with the Secretary of State's office, there does not appear to be current bonds filed pursuant to this section. So again, we're violating state law at this time with these bonds. So I guess the decision is, are we just holding to what state law says and saying he should be bonded and then we'll clean up the rest of it? Or are we just going to go along?
Seeing no further discussion, Representative Lebsack.
I need to respond to that because he was specifically talking about what I referred to. And the representative is correct. Current state statute does say that these folks need to be bonded. The question becomes, currently, is there a need for them to be bonded, right? And so that's the common sense discussion that we're having. Yes, they are in violation of one place in statute right now. However, is that statute needed and should they be bonded? And if you believe that they should be bonded, then you're in a different position than the bill sponsor, and that's okay. But the argument that the bill sponsor was making is that there's no need to have these employees bonded.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the passage of the Agriculture Committee report for Senate Bill 26. All those in favor say yes? All those in favor say no. No. The noes have it. The Agriculture Committee report is lost. To the bill and move the bill, Representative Arndt.
Thank you very much. I move Senate Bill 26 with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Seeing no, would you like to discuss the bill or just move the bill? All those in favor of Senate Bill 26, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no? The ayes have it. Senate Bill 26 is passed. Mr. Randall, please read the title to House Bill 1145.
House Bill 1145 by Representative Herod concerning authorization for amateur winemakers to enter wines in organized events.
Representative Herod.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1145. There is no committee report.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Members, Colorado is home to a vibrant and growing wine industry with over 140 licensed wineries. Many of Colorado's successful commercial winemakers began as amateur winemakers. Allowing amateur winemakers the ability to hold winemaking competitions on a liquor license premise makes Colorado even more attractive to national conventions. However, Colorado has not been able to be considered for national wine conferences due to the inability for amateur winemaking competitions to be held on liquor license premise. Currently, amateur beer brewing competitions are able to hold competitions on liquor license premise. And just as the current statute restricts homebrewed beer, this legislation will also prohibit the sale of amateur wine. This legislation provides parity for Colorado's blossoming craft wine industry and keeps Colorado at the forefront of innovation and economic development. Members, I ask for your support of 1145, another non-controversial alcohol bill. I ask for your aye vote.
Representative Melton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, I had some feelings that just popped into my mind when I heard this bill, and I just can't keep my feelings bottled up anymore. So I'm not here to whine about this bill, but this bill seems a little uncorked. And maybe we should let it breathe and make sure that it has the right body. So before we toast the win of this bill for Representative Herod, I ask that you just, I don't have actually another plan. Ask for an aye vote on this bill.
Any further discussion on House Bill 1145? Representative House Minority Leader Neville.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, this bill supports the principles of limited government and individual liberty. I urge a yes vote.
Any further discussion on 1145? So the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1145. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. 1145 passes. Mr. Randall, would you please read the title to House Bill 1179?
House Bill 1179 by Representative Sane and Janalo, Senators Marble and Court, concerning immunity for a person who renders emergency assistance from a locked vehicle.
Representative Sane.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move House Bill 1179 and move the Health Insurance Environment Committee report.
To the HIE Committee report, Representative Janal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What the House Health Insurance and Committee report did was it actually replaced a couple of technical fixes, and also it had an exemption for law enforcement vehicles. I ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on the HIE Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the HIE Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The HIE Committee report passes. Representative Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And members, this bill is about saving lives and giving the steps necessary to save a life. We've been approached by people who have not acted out of fear of prosecution, and this bill gives the steps necessary to take action to save lives. And for example, some of the steps are having a good faith belief that the person or animal is in imminent danger, death or suffering, great bodily injury, making a reasonable effort to locate the owner or operator of the vehicle, contacting law enforcement or first responder agency prior to forcibly entering the vehicle, and not interfere with any actions of the responding law enforcement agency. Use no more force than necessary, and remain with the at-risk person or animal in a safe location close to the vehicle. I urge a yes vote on this great bill.
Representative Janal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The most dangerous aspect of leaving children or pets in vehicles is their inability to escape on their own accord. And we don't realize how quickly cars' internal temperatures can rise even with the windows cracked and even when the cars are in the shade. And a person or a dog or a cat can only withstand a high body temperature for a very short period of time before suffering significant health issues or death. This bill is the last resort when other options have been exhausted. And a human or an animal is in visible distress. If this bill can save just one life, it's worthwhile. Please vote yes on 1179.
Representative Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to add that this bill is not only for the Good Samaritans, but it's for the folks who would have given anything, least of all a broken window, to save the life of their family member. Urge a yes vote.
Representative Lebsack.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this is one of the best bills of the session. This bill allows folks to save lives. And I want to thank both of the bill sponsors for bringing it. One of the better bills of the session. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1179? Representative Arndt.
Hello, colleagues. I'm sorry, I just have to say this. So, someone thinks that my dog is in distress and they call 911. Is there a waiting period between when they call 911 and they break my window because they've thought that my dog looks hot?
Representative Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for that question. And in the act of calling 911, I'm willing to bet they're going to get very good advice about what to do next, which is why we incorporated that in the bill, and to make sure that they follow the directions of that law enforcement or first responder agency. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on House Bill 1179? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1179. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1179 passes. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1111.
House Bill 1111 by Representative Beckman concerning allowing juvenile courts to enter civil protection orders in dependency and neglect cases.
Representative Beckman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 171111, and I ask for an aye vote and approval of the Judiciary Committee report.
Could you read the committee report, please?
Yes, I can read the committee report.
Could you move the committee report?
I will move the committee report. There were some changes. They amended House Bill 171111 to add the and substitute upon the motion of the city and county attorney, guardian ad litem, and responsible party, council and district, or the. And they also, on page 2, line 9, after the first the, inserted standards and that was with a unanimous vote.
So is there any further discussion on the Judiciary Committee report? Seeing none, the question is the adoption of the Judiciary Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Beckman.
This bill is about keeping kids safe, finding them a permanent home, and allowing the police to be notified when there is a significant security issue. This bill will give judges in district court discretion to use a protection order in a dependency and neglect case when there is significant concerns for the child or guardian's safety. Judges will also have the discretion to retain these protective orders so that they survive after the DNN case closes. Currently, the judges are keeping these cases over for a long time because once they close them, the no contact order goes away. This gives greater law enforcement ability to enter protection orders in the best interest of the children and ensures these protections continue as long as necessary.
Representative Singer.
Thank you, members, and thank you to Representative Beckman. Although I'm surprised I didn't even hear you vote on your own committee report there, but I assume you liked it, passed unanimously. Thank you, Representative Beckman, for bringing this bill. A lot of times we let paperwork get in the way of the people work, and this puts the people work ahead of the paperwork. So thank you for streamlining our system in a way that will benefit our most vulnerable kids.
Representative Wist.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I think Representative Beckman should be congratulated and applauded for listening to our county officials who are seeking some relief in terms of when an order of this nature automatically expires. This bill is in the best interest of our children in these proceedings. And Representative Beckman, I appreciate the effort that went into this bill. You're effectively threading the needle on this issue, and I ask for an aye vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1111. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. House Bill 1111 is adopted. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar.
You have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
Seeing no objection, the balance of the calendar will be laid over. Wait, we're in second reading. There's no second reading left to lay over. Oh, we have to do that when we say. Oh, it's just the yeah. But I can't do that. Okay, wait. All right, say this house. I move that the committee rise and report.
It's actually just though. It's when we go back.
One more thing. Having heard the motion.
Members, you have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
The House will come back to order. Mr. Randall, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report it has under its consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendation thereon. House Bill 1012 is amended. House Bill 1027 is amended. House Bill 1103 is amended. House Bill 1111 is amended. House Bill 1120 is amended. House Bill 1130, House Bill 1145, House Bill 1179 is amended. House Bill 1180 passed on second reading or engrossed, placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 26 passed on second reading, in order revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Representative Janal. You have heard the motion, and there are no amendments at the desk. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Mr. Randall, please close the machine. With 58 yes votes and 7 no votes, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move House Bill 1175 from Wednesday, March 1st to Friday, March 3rd.
Okay.
I move to lay over. Did I say that? I move to lay over.
Seeing no objection, that bill will be laid over. Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I move to lay over the balance of the calendar.
All right. Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Seeing no objection, the balance of the calendar will be laid over until tomorrow, March 1st. Announcements and introductions. Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, I'd like to recognize a group that is too large to even come into the chamber that are in the old Supreme Court chambers. The 8th grade social studies class from Salida Middle School is in the Supreme Court chamber. So if you had an opportunity to stop by and tell them hi, please do so. Thank you.
Representative Kraftart.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, we've got some really exciting bills in Business Affairs and Labor this afternoon at 1:30 in LSBA. We will be hearing House Bill 17-1051, Procurement Code Modernization. And then House Bill 1193 with Kraft, Tharp, and Becker, Small Cell Facilities Permitting and Installation. And finally, to cap off our day will be Senate Bill 127 with Representative Babone, originator exemption mortgages to family members. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Kraftart. Any further announcements or introductions? Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the Public Health and Human Services Committee, we will have 2 bills up today. And just for a little fun curveball, we will be meeting in room 271 today. 271, not in the basement. So we'll save your knees a trip down to the basement. See you 271, 1:30.
Thank you, Representative Singer. Further announcements or introductions? Representative Janal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't know if they're still here or not, but I want to welcome, and I want us to welcome students and teachers of Rivendell School, which is preschool through 5th grade. They are visiting us today. And just a little bit of information, Rivendell is the oldest nonprofit secular private school in Fort Collins. And again, welcome Rivendell to the Capitol today. And
Representative Janal.
One more announcement, and I'll say it again. Health, Insurance, and Environment Committee does not meet this morning. Thank you.
Representative Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wanted to remind everybody that tomorrow at lunch is the second meeting of the Public Investment Caucus, where we're going to be taking a deep dive into Medicaid and Medicaid expansion with the help of the Colorado Health Institute. And if any of you are looking for a double dose of health policy on Thursday during the lunch hour, the Colorado Health Institute is going to be over in the old Supreme Court talking about the Affordable Care Act and the possible consequences in states of upcoming federal changes. Thanks.
Thank you, Representative Kennedy. Any further announcements or introductions? Any further announcements or introductions? Seeing no further announcements or introductions, Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess till 1:30 today.
Seeing no objection, the House will stand in recess.